the sticking points has been who will be the next national president of the BJP
Right.
in place of JP Nadda.
Yeah. Is it a way to tell the community and Muslim leaders as well that we'll take care of you, but if you also behave in a way?
This, with the powerful and popular Prime Minister, the task of coordination between the RSS leadership and the BJP leadership has probably had its challenges. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat is trying to mainstream the RSS, which has remained in the shadows much more.
We know that RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat delivered a landmark speech on the occasion of Sangh completing 100 years. Now, the address attracted a lot of attention, mainly because he finally cleared the air on the long-standing doubts about the relationship between RSS and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Over the past few years, several events had led to speculation that all was not well between the Sangh and the BJP. Now, to help us decode the significance of Bhagwat's speech, we have our columnist Neerja Chowdhury here with us. She will break down the key messages, the political signals hidden in the address, and even tackle the big question: is Prime Minister Modi preparing to step aside anytime soon? So, Neerja, let's begin with you. Could you share 3 to 5 key highlights from the speech, like the overarching themes that stood out in Bhagwat's speech?
Look, the 3 parts lecture, the series, which spanned 3 days, with Mohan Bhagwat speaking, was the only speaker. Of course, introductions were there, who spoke for, I was told, 240 hours. And that's what, 240 minutes, not 240 hours. That's 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah.
First 2 days he spoke, and third day was Q&A. And the questions had been sought from the audience, and people sent all manner of questions. And what was interesting, the most interesting part of the whole thing was that Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief, fielded the controversial questions, he fielded uncomfortable questions, and broadly what people sent, he answered. So now, that was an interesting part. The other interesting part to see was that they had invited, there must have been 1,300 people in Vigyan Bhavan. And they had invited all sections of society. In fact, there were very few politicians to be seen, hardly any. But there were lawyers, there was the media, there was bureaucrats, there were activists, and they included some of those who have been critics of the RSS. And, they went out of their way to invite people. People they invited, they sent somebody senior with a personal invitation to them to ask them to come. It wasn't just something sent by email or, by just posted. People came and personally invited, please come. So I felt they made an attempt to reach out. The main message that one got was that the RSS chief, Mohan Bhagwat, is trying to mainstream the RSS, which has remained in the shadows much more. You haven't known much about it. RSS functionaries have been inaccessible, not open to questions. So a lot of people have perceptions about the RSS, and Mohan Bhagwat said this. People have perceptions, but they don't really know the reality. So I think they tried to bridge that gap. And as they completed 100 years, it was a landmark. And this was observed, these 3 days was observed as they completed 100 years, is to look at new horizons in the future. So one of the things that became clear is that the RSS is probably going to undertake a massive outreach to sections of society who have not been part of their fold or in their ambit. So that was one clear message that came across. You spoke about the relationship with the BJP. Now that was a very important part also. I would say, if we were honest, 99.9% of the people who were present there, the one question they wanted an answer to was, is Mohan Bhagwat going to say something which will nudge Modi to quit once he becomes 75 years on
Yes.
September 16?
Yes.
क्या कुछ करने वाले हैं?
Yes.
क्या कुछ इशारा करने वाले हैं? And he himself, Mohan Bhagwat, is going to become 75 on 11th of September. Is he going, this was also a buzz, is he going to quit in order? And people said, will that put some kind of a moral pressure on the Prime Minister to do likewise? Now, there was a buzz on this because Mohan Bhagwat had said in an earlier talk, he had quoted Moro Pant Pingle, who is an RSS leader. He was launching a book about him, that when a shawl had been given to him on his 75th, he said, it should be seen as an indication that one must move forward, making way for younger people. So this was seen as, is it a hint given to the Prime Minister? Mohan Bhagwat took the bull by the horn. He said, I never said I was going to quit, and I never said anybody else should quit.
Right.
Clearly, this is not on the agenda. So this was another indication that some kind of a working understanding has been forged between the RSS and the BJP's leadership. Because remember what you referred to in 2024 election, this is now an open secret, because the RSS cadre did not campaign for the BJP's candidates as they have done in the past. The BJP slumped to 240 instead of getting a clear majority. And the main damage took place in Uttar Pradesh, where from 62 they came down to 33, and that is where the gap lay. In the subsequent elections, of course, in Haryana, in Maharashtra, in Delhi, the RSS put their best foot forward. Now, and parlays across both sides, between leaders of both sides, took place to sort out differences. Now, one of the things probably the RSS realize it, and I say this again and again, that the RSS at the end of the day, despite the differences and reservations they may have about the style of functioning of BJP's leadership, has never had it as good as it does today.
Okay.
Because, their people are in different sectors. All their core agenda is done.
Yeah.
Mandir is done. 370 is abrogated. Triple talaq they are moving towards. So given that, and their people are now posted in different sectors, particularly the educational field, vice chancellors, if you look at them, governors, if you look at them. I'm told the candidate for the vice presidentship, their nominee is an RSS choice, C.P. Radhakrishnan, and the election is going to take place on September 9th. The fact that Devendra Fadnavis became Chief Minister of Maharashtra, one of the RSS people said to me, how do you think that happened? It's because of us, because of their insistence. So it is having its way, but it may have reservations. And one of the sticking points has been who will be the next national president of the BJP in place of JP Nadda.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question, because the relationship between RSS and BJP has puzzled observers for long. He, of course, stood for the Prime Minister, as you mentioned here, but then he also spoke about the next national president, and he said that if Sangh had to decide, we would have done it by now. Which can be, people can construe it as like a slight jibe on the functioning of BJP, basically, that they need RSS.
He went out of his way repeatedly. Mohan Bhagwat said this. He said that I run shakas. That is my expertise. Then we have our swayam sevaks that we train, go on to run different front organization. The BJP is one of them. BJP has the expertise to run the state and the government. I don't have that expertise. If the BJP seeks my advice, I will give it. If they doesn't seek my advice, it's their business. At least formally, that's the position on the record. Whether things work like that behind the scenes, because it has been a relationship of mentor and protege.
Yeah.
But for the first time, you have a government, BJP government in power. And remember, for 10 years, it was a majority government. And now, of course, it's dependent on allies. But it has been led by a powerful and a popular prime minister. In Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, it wasn't a majority government. The RSS used to put pressure constantly to do this, that, and the other. But this, with the powerful and popular prime minister, the task of coordination between the RSS leadership and the BJP leadership has probably had its challenges. And therefore, Mohan Bhagwat has spelled this out, and he made this remark, had हमको तय करना होता पार्टी का president कौन है तो हम अब तक तो हो जाता, which is probably true. And the BJP will turn around in all likelihood and say, अगर हमको तय करना होता अपने से तो अभी तक हो जाता. So the fact that they have to coordinate, all said and done, despite Mohan Bhagwat's open position, I don't think the next president of the party will be decided on by the BJP leadership without taking the views of the RSS on board. And I think the RSS has wanted somebody strong, who can head the organization given the challenges that lie ahead, and not somebody who is very pliant and will just do what the government wants. So that is where they have not come to an understanding on who it should be. And given that Bihar elections are now around the corner, it is possible that it may get put off till after the Bihar elections are over. Shivraj Chauhan went and met Mohan Bhagwat, and this created a lot of speculation whether he would be the next chief. I don't know. There were other names also, Dharmendra Pradhan, Bhupen Yadav, and so on. So I think the fact that the BJP does depend on the RSS cadre at poll time,
Yeah.
and without which it is handicapped, as we saw in 2024. I don't think they'll want to just go ahead and say, you know, as JP Nadda said, we don't need any hand-holding by the RSS anymore. We are now capable enough. Theoretically, yes. Practically, no.
Practically, no. I also want to speak about Bhagwat particularly. A lot of people say that he's a bit of moderate in the Sangh Parivar. And on one hand, he also engages with Muslim leaders and talks about inclusivity and everything. But then he also spoke about that Muslims should give up on Gyanvapi Mosque in the same series. And he talks about women fertility rate in India. He talks about one woman should have 3 children, which is again a little extreme if you ask few people. What do you make of him as a person? Is he actually a moderate, or he's just BJP and RSS both are now, they want to sustain power and they are trying to portray this new as side of them so that they sustain the power now?
You know, one of the striking things during the first 2 days of this conference, I was there, was Mohan Bhagwat going out of the way to reach out to the minorities, saying without saying it in this fashion, that the Indian Muslims were part of us. They are part of the country. They are part of India. You know, he repeatedly said this. And that he even used the words that, Hindu, whether it's Hindu, Hindvi, Bhartiyata, or Sanatani, they are all the same thing. You can use whatever word you want. So they are part of, culturally part of India, and they should not be regarded in any other way. Now, several of the Muslims who sat in that audience, I talked to some of them, they liked what he said, but they have a question mark. What happens when you have lynching?
Right.
Why doesn't the RSS come out more strongly. I'm told privately Mohan Bhagwat has conveyed to them, how can we come out? We don't represent all the Hindus. But when he reaches out to the Muslims and says that in the interest of goodwill and brotherhood, and because this means so much to Hindus, that Kashi and Mathura should be given to them, as was Ayodhya.
Yeah.
And so they will turn around and say, we don't represent. Who are you talking to? You're talking to 15 organizations, 30 organizations. We can't speak for the entire Muslim community. And that has been a problem. Why this dialogue took place during Chandrasekhar's time, Prime Minister Chandrasekhar's time, when he took over at the end of 1919. He was there for 5 months. And he tried very hard to bring some kind of a settlement to get the Muslims to agree to give up these 3 mosques in return for the assurance that the Sangh and the Hindu community will not ask for anything else. Now, the RSS has, Mohan Bhagwat has said, urged people, you cannot look for a shivling under every mosque. This after the Ayodhya judgment. In recent times, he has made this point. And yet, as you say, at Vigyan Bhavan, he toughened his stand. Now, he said, while the RSS will not take part in any Andolan, Ayodhya was an exception, the Swayamsevaks are free to decide and they can take part in any Andolan. In other words, are they getting ready for an Andolan on Kashi and Mathura before the 2029 elections? Will VHP, Bajrang Dal carry out that Andolan? Will Swayamsevaks have been given the freedom now by the RSS chief to take part? And therefore reaching out to the Muslim community on the one hand, which is very welcome, and you're absolutely right, the dialogue that has been held by him in the last 2 years with the Muslim, eminent Muslim, repeatedly, and remember, this is not, information about this is not leaked out. Both sides have not leaked this information. So it's been very important dialogue that's been going on behind the scenes. And yet this note is struck. And this brings me to the question, your question, is he a moderate?
Yeah.
Now, in the Sangh, can you even say somebody is a moderate or a hawk? You know, can you make that distinction? I don't know, because Sangh decides together, then they follow a line. But some people say Mohan Bhagwat left himself maybe much more of a moderate, and there is the extreme right within the entire Sangh family, which pushes in another direction. And is he having to synthesize the pulls and pressures from within the family and therefore formulate something like this on Kashi and Mathura that he did at Vigyan Bhavan?
Is it a way to tell the community and Muslim leaders as well that we'll take care of you, but if you also behave in a way?
Look, it may be that we will, be generous, be magnanimous. But as in the past, leaders who have tried to find a solution on this have found, even if you have 50 Muslim organizations, will they be able to convince the entire community?
Right. And who are they to even
No,
say
they
that
can be efforts made. But I say the dialogue should continue. It should just continue, because that's a very valuable contribution. That's a very important thing happening. Without dialogue, you don't break through. And maybe some solution can be found. And as we enter, we are now living in very turbulent times, globally, geopolitically, economically, huge challenges with this tariff war. And that we cannot afford to have social conflict on religious lines in India today.
right?
We cannot. We'll be set back decades. And the India story is going to be, damaged and not be able to go forward. So I think and it is the RSS that can play a role in creating and bringing about social harmony. And I feel Mohan Bhagwat is in that position today, having struck those reasonable, inclusive notes, he's, historical forces have put him in a place uh, that he can move the organization. And that's going to be the acid test of his leadership, to make India's non Hindus feel as secure as the Hindus feel.
But when it comes to women, RSS will never be pro women and will mostly be a patriarchal organization, you would say.
There also, we don't know as they move forward on caste. Caste at the time of Guruji Golwalkar and caste accepted by Balasaheb Deoras, who was also RSS chief, and now Mohan Bhagwat endorsing reservations on the basis of caste, they have moved forward. Now, I also found it disappointing, his words on women, not only because of the 3-child norm, which is a problematic thing. When you look at the floods, look at what we have to contend with. Do we have the resources to look after 3 children per family? Some people think it's because of demographic factor कि Hindus की संख्या बढ़ जाएगी, but then Muslims की संख्या भी बढ़ेगी ना. It's not only Hindu if you're looking at that. I think it is, and then of course there is a very important question of women's choice.
Yeah, education is so bad, health is so
And
bad.
unless you can give quality education and look after the nutrition of children, your demographic dividend will not become a reality. It is true, other nations are aging. We are a young country. So if we have to become a power in the world, then it's a good thing to have a growing population, but not unless you give them quality education and take care of their health. And that today I can't say with confidence we can do. I was recently at a very interesting thing, that in an event in Bombay, and I came straight from there to Vigyan Bhavan, and therefore the women part of it struck me even more. This is a program, Nanni Kali, which is run by Anand Mahindra Group, and they were launching a book and about the program. And the book was done by an 18-year-old, Nitya Manoj Kumar. 18-year-old who spent 3 years, her vacation, to see how this Nanni Kali program was functioning. She was not looking at how many laptops, how many hours of schooling. She was looking at the qualitative change it's made in the attitudes of fathers towards daughters, brothers towards daughters. How does the social rights of women, how they feel about their rights, even what is their attitude about leisure. It is very interesting. And Anand Mahindra, they've reached 1 million. Anand Mahindra spent all of 3 hours with a group of women journalists, of course answering questions and launching the book, but also seeking ideas. How do we take it forward? What is it that we need to do? Sports, thousands of football teams. What else do we need to do? What struck me is the importance given to the girl child. And that is where I feel women are not only becoming a constituency. You take Bihar, Nitish Kumar, 10,000 rupees to a woman in every family. Other things, 30% women in the police force locally. Every party is wooing women. And if you travel at election time and you talk to young women, there are stars in their eyes. Sky is the limit. That's why I keep saying again and again, this century will belong to the women of India, provided we do it right. And therefore, for the RSS, which the Prime Minister called as the largest NGO in the world, for not to tap into women power. But there were many questions on women, sent to Mohan Bhagwat, and he answered. We have our Rashtra Sevika Sangh, women work side by side with men, but there was no note struck that women, this is what we have for women. And I think मुझे disappointing लगा वो aspect, apart from the 3-child norm and women's choice.
Very disappointing. But that's a good note to end the discussion. Thank you so much, ma'am. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Indian Express.